Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
So, The Furious, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
It brought me back to a time, literally, I was sitting there and sort of nostalgic because I used to watch Kung Fu movies with my dad as a little girl. So, it just kind of took me back to that place. And it's the intensity, the epic battles, the discipline, the martial arts magic, which I haven't seen in a really long time, to be honest with you.
I like that. I like magic. Yeah, I like that word. Yeah.
But underneath all of that, there's a deeper story about pain, vengeance, sacrifice, and protecting innocent children. So roping that into the story, I'm curious, when you first read the script, what connected with you emotionally beyond the martial arts?
I'm a father with 3 kids. I have 2 daughters, 1 son, and then they're the most important people in my life, even more than me. So that connects me so much when I hear about this character they have offered me, Naveen, a journalist investigator who dedicated his life for those kids and risked his life knowing that, you know, he could die in the process of doing that. So that, for me, I believe I would do the same thing in that world, in the Furious world. As a Joe Taslim, I would do the same thing what Navin is doing for those children. Maybe it sounds too noble, but I know I would. That's probably something that straight away I was, when I was reading the script, was like, this is a gem. You know, especially for me as an actor, as a father, and it involves a lot of cool action scenes and working with the best people that, you know, they know what they're doing.
But there's a psychological piece to it, an emotional piece to it, especially as a father.
True. And then the other factor is I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia, and knowing that's still happening while we're talking right now in that region. Human trafficking, child trafficking. Almost like I have responsibility to tell this story.
What was the mental preparation like compared to the physical?
Yeah.
How did you manage that? Because it's different from other roles like Mortal Kombat.
So to get into his psychology, Navin's psychological thing, I watch a lot of documentaries. There's 2 documentaries. One of them is ABC In Depth, talking about a journalist investigator from Australia that went so deep. I don't want to say the country, but like one country in Southeast Asia. And it was hard to watch because, you know, this team went so deep and then undercover to save those children that trapped in a den of cyber sex, that, what do you call that, involves kids like in front of the camera, and then, you know, for global audience, and they have paid $20 to watch whatever is that. And then that documentary destroyed me, because one thing that actually destroyed me the most is when those people saved those kids and brought them to this facility to save them and to recover them. Those kids, they didn't want to go there because they thought that's the life they know. This is the life that I know. I'm doing this to help my parents, you know, because of poverty, for them to survive. And so when they brought them to the facility with the psychologists and trying to, you know, like, put them back, nightmare they've been living, those kids say, like, I want to go back doing that. I don't like this place, because they were so ruined in a what they believe as children. This is my life doing this. I don't believe the other life other than this. So that destroyed me to pieces. And
how did you manage not taking all that with you after the film? Because I'm sure that must have been difficult. I'm a mother.
Yeah, it was. But that helped me to get into Naveen, and that helped me understand why he's doing that. You know, why he's doing. He's not a kung fu master. You know, he doesn't have what it takes to fight 100 people. You know, especially if you watch the movie, he's he's struggling.
struggles a little
He's
bit.
a survivor. He's a survivor. He's trying to survive one fight to another. And I know in his mind, he knows he's probably cannot. And then that's why the beautiful thing about this movie is like we have another character that capable. I think it's a beautiful contrast. We have a body movies. One is capable physically, can destroy. One is mentally so strong that I would sacrifice my life and I don't care. Me and my wife made a promise that we want to dedicate our life to those children. And then we have these two characters fighting. One is physical, one is like full of heart. And for me, this is probably the best character I played so far.
And I'm glad you mentioned the other character, because the thing with these characters, they're both dealing with loss and unimaginable pain. Yet they make this choice to stay and fight for these children instead of simply saving themselves, which is what most people will do. I mean, that's the type of society that we're living in. But do you think that vengeance changed them or revealed who they truly were?
I think how it works in this world, we are monsters. We just don't know when the monster is going to come out. It depends on how we live, how we understand life, and how we resonates to our environment. But we have it. So I believe when a father lost the daughter, Sienna's character, the world forced him to become that person. And he was just a handyman. He lived, the normal life, nothing crazy, trying to raise a daughter. But of course, sometimes, we live in a world that's so messed up that we don't know where we gonna turn to one of those. And therefore, Navin himself, we see this character's journey is, even though his dedication to save all those children's very noble, but we see gradual changes, that he got hurt, and then he tried to survive, all one agony to another, one injuries to another, until at the end of the day, at the end of the movie, you see he becomes the monster that he never thought he could be. So in terms of character, without the action, I believe this movie has an amazing storytelling, and we need this movie because now we live in a world that people, prefer to close their eyes that injustices that happening in front of them, because that's how the system wants you to, because to play safe, but this movie probably is going to inspire people that what kind of a life that you want to inherit your children if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to fight something.
And it did inspire me. So I collect quotes, and I can't let you go without asking you this.
Yes.
There's a quote at the end of the film that stayed with me. I wrote it down, put it on my laptop. If you're brave enough to change yourself, you can change the world. Yeah. How do you personally relate to that message?
That's coming from my character. I love that quote. It's all about, I believe, we want to have a comfort life and save, like follow the system and stuff. That's probably the life that the world trying to, direct, civilization, because that's safe, But also at the same time comes with the sacrifice that it means that you have to follow, you have to obey, and you have to believe the system. What if the system is corrupt? So it means that if each one of us doesn't want to change our perspective that embedded us since we were born, since we grew up in high school, all those things. You got to do this. You got to be a good person. You got to do this. Follow this thing. Follow that. But what if the system is broken? So in order for you to change the world, you have to change your perspective. I think particularly it's not change yourself probably in general, but for me the most particularly is to change your perspective. Once you can change your perspective and you see the world in a different perspective, you can change the world.
Well, I think that's a great way to end the interview. Change starts with you, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth.